Might as well be in my closet. All right. Looking good. What? Baron Davis in the house. What's going on, man? Baron, you want to go live with me? I'd love to go live with you sometime. Let me know. I can put you on live right now if you want. Thanks. Give me a call, Baron. I got a couple of deals. I'd love to talk to you. Thanks for joining me. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There we go, Team Meltzer. Let's get some questions going. Don't forget training this Friday. It's on re-engineering, reinventing, repurposing yourself. It's time, man. Things are opening up. It's time to go. You want to go live, Baron? I'm in bed with the kids. Oh, never mind. Yeah, connect with me, brother. We'll get together. The great Baron Davis, entrepreneur, basketball legend, of course. Love talking to that guy. Friday's trainings on re-engineering, reinventing, restarting, whatever you want to call it. It's time to go. Accelerate. The ferocious Buddha is ready to be ferocious again. Text me at 949-298-2905 or email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Team David Meltzer, you got to get this pin right. That's not the right one. So we're going to get on the right page of my team. Tracy Washington, welcome. Thank you. Texting you now. Right on. Deals. Yeah, isn't it amazing? So many people are like, there's no deals. I'm like, I don't know what world. I got a frequency like Baron's, man. Unbelievable. Looking here. All right, thank you, Brooke. We got a question. Do you have any advice for someone who is recently furloughed? How do you practice ending fear? So people that are out of a job, furloughed, laid off, fired, whatever it may be, you got to focus in on capabilities. You got to focus in on what skills do you have? What skills do you want or need? What knowledge do you have? What knowledge do you want or need? And you've got to practice that ending fear to maintain or grow your desire of what you must be. You must be what you can be, and you really need to get that going. So, looking at that, I always look to see what capabilities I have, skills, knowledge, and desires that are synergistic or aligned with or supplementary to what's doing well right now, what's stable right now, or what you think is going to do well in the future by utilizing mentorship, by finding someone in the situation you want to be in that has experienced that. So those are the types of things that you want to do. Great question. Really appreciate it. Let's see here. Blaine, thank you. What sport are you most excited to have come back? Football. I'm a football guy. It's my favorite sport. I can't wait to have football come back. You can see my Charger helmet behind there. I think the Chargers have a huge advantage this year because they're used to playing in front of people with very little crowd. So Trevor Moad, the man of neutrality, of being centered, one of my great mentors and friends. Welcome. Liam, what do you do when you run out of ideas to fill up your calendar? Are you kidding me? Massive issue for me right now. You don't fill up your calendar. So what we do is we study our calendar. We pay attention to and give intention to the things that we have planned. We pay attention to and give intention to the things we don't have planned based on your values, your personal values, your experiential values, your giving and receiving values. If you're looking at, Liam, the blank space in your calendar and you start saying, my health is number one, boom, that should fill up at least an hour. And then you start looking down. If your family is next important on your values, then I could spend time 30 minutes with this person, 30 minutes with this person, minimum 30 minutes with this person. Al Manfrey in the house. Good to see you, my friend. He's an unbelievable friend and financial planner. Mike Ashabi as well, joining the WFG Marshall Falk team with me. Thank you as well. You got to look to your values. Then, execute. I personally, you need to separate your life and activity. You get paid for an activity you don't. Make sure you're taking inventory of your values every day, and you will have no problem filling up your calendar. Your problem will be, how do I create more efficiencies, effectiveness, and statistical success in what I'm doing? At the very least, you can meditate, right? At the very least, you could find center. I know Trevor's on here. He will help you get there. At anything, there's perspective you can work on, mindset, peace you could work on, accountability you could work on, or practice ending fear. All of those different things to be productive, accessible, and gracious in your life. Can we get on live? I have a question. Yeah, why not? Get on live. Thank you. Better than was in bed with his kids, right? Go live here. Hey, man,
Hey man, what's up?
you have a
How
question
you
for
doing?
me? I'm
Yeah,
awesome.
actually I do. I remember you talking about real estate and you being into real estate. So actually I was thinking about starting off with flipping real estate into wholesaling, but the actual thing is I actually cannot get into flipping real estate for the, let's say, for the next year. So the answer I want for the problem is, can I partner up with someone and, make deals and, maybe earn the money through that, and later on maybe sign a contract with that guy, that the money gets credited to me, or whatever the profits are, we split it up. So can that be done? Do you have experience of something of that nature?
Absolutely. I've syndicated big deals with more than one partner and utilized this type of approach in the coaching. So, what you want to do though is do the math, right? The best way to find a partner is to go
Hmm,
ahead and find a property you want to flip. You don't have to buy it at its lowest and you don't have to sell it at its highest, but find a property that you can mathematically show. Yeah, here's the price of the property today, right? My feeling is the market's not going to go up in the next 24 months, so it could go down. It might be stable, but what I would do is I would go find a property and say, here's the price of the property, here's the market for the property today, here's the work that it needs. So I would find a property, what I call that's oversold, meaning that people they're not willing to do the work. They think it costs too much. You have the capability of doing the work cheaper, whatever it is. And then I would say, okay, here's what it costs to fix up these things. And then item by item, say, for example,
hmm,
it's $1,200 to fix the doors, but by fixing the doors, you'll increase the price $10,000, the market value
hmm,
$10,000. And you come up with what you think the price would be today at the
hmm,
market being where it's at, and you show that profit margin, right? You show that profit margin. Then you
hmm,
say, well, if the market drops 10% in this time that it takes me to fix it up, this would be the profit margin. If the market drops 20% in this time, 30%, whatever it may be, show, then go out, right? And
hmm,
you can
hmm,
find in person, on the phone, via email and social media. Ask people, do you know anyone that can help me? I got a property that if the market stays the same, I'm going to make 100 grand. If it goes down
hmm,
10%, I'm going to make 90. If it goes down 20, I'm going to make 80. If it goes down 50, I'm going to make 50 grand. All I
hmm,
need is this much money to put down on the property. I'll give him a first security interest in the property so he's completely secured. I'll do all the
hmm,
work, flip, etc., sell, and split the profits 50-50. Can you see any reason you don't want to move forward? That's exactly how you do it. And it happens every day, and you don't need
hmm,
money. There's also
hmm,
companies out there that are looking for guys like you that will
hmm.
finance you, because you can get first time buyer financing at 3.5% as well. So, on every $100,000 you borrow, you just need $3,500 from a partner. You get
To
to
down payment, for the
yeah,
down payment, pretty much. Yep.
correct. Yeah.
All right. And also, uh, what would be the best way to study the market for the next 24 to 36 months? Because this is a very crucial time, right? And what would be the best way and the best ways to understand the market, also predict the nature of the market?
Find a mentor, man. You got to find a mentor, someone that sits in the position that you want to be in, that have been in the market 30, 40 years. Tell them that you want to learn the market in the next 12, 24, 36 months, and allow them to teach you the lessons and tell you the dummy tax that they've paid, show you
Hmm,
the key indicators of what it means, how financing, how interest rates, how different markets and different properties perform differently in different stresses and different economies, different political regimes. There's so many different variables that you've got to get a mentor and find someone. And the great thing about real estate is there's tons of mentors out there that would love to
hmm.
help you. And of course, I do, have a private group that does that as well. You can reach out to me at david@dmeltzer.com.
Absolutely.
So just go ahead and email me, text me at 949-298-2905, or email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Okay.
I'll text you. All
All
right.
right,
Thank you so
brother.
much.
You got
Take
it.
care.
Thank you. Good questions. A lot of people understanding real estate. One of the ways to do the reengineering, reinventing, and repurposing training for this Friday, which is free, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, talking about the math, right? You got to have the math in there in all the scenarios. I usually do at least minimum 3 scenarios to every business venture based off of time and tolerance. So I do 3 different scenarios: perfect scenario, average scenario, bad scenario. And I want to make sure that the math supports me making money, no matter if it's a bad scenario, a moderate scenario, or a perfect scenario, or an optimistic scenario. How do you choose the right spouse? You align your values, and you manage your expectations that you're going to have to work at it more than anything else in your life. That you're going to have to work at what? Finding the superpower in anybody that you're intimate with, in any relationship, business partner, spouse, whatever. You're going to have to go in knowing that you're going to have to learn to love, right? Because what is a spouse or an intimate partner or a business partner? Somebody that knows all of your faults but loves you anyway. They're able to find the superpowers and focus in on the superpowers, not the faults. In fact, they're able to tell you what those faults are in a diplomatic or effective manner, so you can work on improving to your potential some of the weaknesses that you have, or maybe that their strengths are complementary to your weaknesses and your strengths are complementary to their weaknesses. What are the different ways you can reinvent yourself? We're going to go over that on Friday. So join me Friday for training, 949-298-2905, david@dmeltzer.com. Don't want to list out all of them right here. Time-wise, how do you promote your content? Gaining traction over the internet. Yeah. So building a brand is crucial for your product, service, solution, or your personal brand. And you have to be consistent, but you have to practice finding your frequency. Your frequency has a strong signal, a spectrum that broadens, and a clear message every time. It's not what you say, it's what they hear. And so all of this takes effort. It takes attention and intention to the coincidences that you want, the mathematical occurrence of your brand. I personally focus in on, like Noah, 2 people at a time. When I'm talking Noah Ark, 2 people at a time, empower them to find 2 more people, to empower them to find 2 more people. I detach my emotions from an outcome. I don't care about followers in the least. What I care about is engagement, of ambassadorship, of empowering people, planting seeds under trees. I'll never sit under, watering those seeds of people with trees I will sit under, and of course, rejoicing in the harvest of those trees for today, and working with all 3 of those realms. Perfect. Saw you on YNK with Mike. Loved it. Thank you so much, Ian. I appreciate it. We're trying to get out there consistently. Thank you for all the questions. Hey, Dave, what's the best way to break out of identified motivation into actual intrinsic motivation to make change? So I call it inspiration, right? So motivation gets you up, gets you back up. Motivation is rocket fuel. It will work to spark. There's a philosophy, right? The first 10 minutes are the toughest. So that motivation allows me to get through that toughness. Inspiration will get me the rest of the way there. Inspiration is the routines, the disciplines, the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious thoughts, words, everything that we're doing in the day. There's 10,000 conscious new data inputs or thoughts that we have, 40,000 of the same ones in our subconscious. And then we have years and years, if not lifetimes and lifetimes, of quantum memories that created our personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions that allow us to create a frequency, that signal, the spectrum, and the clarity that we're talking about when we brand ourselves as well. So looks like Sean Kelly is here. Let me go live with Sean Kelly. I will find Sean. Where are you, my friend? Thank you, everybody, for coming on and asking questions and joining me. Hopefully, we're getting a lot out of this. So let me see here. There he is. All right. The CEO of Snack Nation, the clean eating, and I want to get into, I've, worked myself around. What's up, brother?
David, what's happening, man? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful. I'm going to start off, obviously Snack Nation, growing, the industry, the space is growing. You are what you eat, and this has been told to me forever. And there's so many variables on why people are fit, healthy, live long. And, I'm a firm believer that there's nothing like genetics, but people have to take that as a dependent variable. So,
not everybody wins the genetic lottery, right?
Yeah, and it's true. And I think it's important for people to know that. But then once they get the context of saying, okay, here's the 4 generational or ancestral things that I've inherited into my DNA, my quantum memory. Now, what are the best choices to live to my potential? Right? Because some people's potential is only to live to 50 and some's to 120. I think even now their kids being born, they say they'll live to 150. But there's still going to be some kids that are born into genetics that only allow them to live a short period of time. But where I'm interested is eating healthy and eating clean increases that, whatever that potential is. And people get that one variable mixed up. They're like, well, I'm going to live for everyone. Anyway, I'm like, well, wouldn't you want, if you're genetic, say you're going to live to 100, don't you want to live to 100 where you're thinking, eating, smelling, feeling good, instead of, yeah, I got great genetics, but I'm going to be miserable at 100 and sitting there and dependent on everybody, not thinking, not strong, not walking, not enjoying my great grandkids. So how much of that variable is eating contributing to that potential of our DNA?
I mean, I don't think there's anything more important than eating. If you think about it, right? So you have your genetics, and you're absolutely right. You can amplify the quality of your life by the things that enter your body. Well, let's think about the things that enter your body. Okay, food and drink, I believe arguably the most important. You also have thoughts, right? Whether you read something or you hear something from somebody else. And then you have things from the environment, right? Whether they're toxins or the air that you breathe. All these things are what take your genetic code and take you and either amplify you or bring you down. And so I completely agree with you. When some people are like, well, my grandfather ate horrible. He lived till 90 and had bacon and smoked cigarettes every day. It's like, well, okay, maybe that might be the case, but he could have lived to 105 and been even healthier if maybe he did something a little bit better. And so I think food and drink, and like you said, you are what you eat, you are what you digest. It's one of the most important things.
And to that end as well, let's take it down to a more macro or micro level. As far as you talked about the thoughts, the words, what we hear, what we think. Our food, you got to eat clean, not just what you're putting in your mouth, but what you're putting in your nose, what you're putting in your ears, what you're putting on your fingers. Like, all of these things are data inputs for our system, conscious, subconscious. I believe they actually impact the DNA. We could actually increase our potential. That we may have been born with 100-year potential, and we can make it 105 by inputting the right data, food being the most essential. But, you talked about thinking, what we think, what we hear, what we say, surrounding yourself with the right people and the right ideas. I think that culture today is more important. And you do such a great job at Snack Nation with your corporate culture and controlling,
Yes.
the negativity. And I'm going to do a training on negativity for this very reason. Can you talk to me about constructing that as a cornerstone of your corporate culture, because you guys have such a great perspective of it?
Yeah, we try. I'm making an audible here. I'm trying to go to a place with maybe better internet. I'm not sure. So
yeah, man, I do it all the time. So I'm lucky today. I'm not in the closet. I'm in the actual studio. So I've been there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's acting up, but hey, we'll hang out here in my back in my yard. You see the sauna and the dog toys back there.
Nice.
But yeah, so cultures, culture is massively important. And I think that now, if you look at how the world of work is shifting, I think culture is becoming more important than ever. Like, it's all about removing the suck from work. Like, look at the things that are inefficient. I mean, there are so many people. One of the things that I just cannot stand, and I'm so passionate about, because at Snack Nation, our goal is to nourish and inspire people to do the best work of their lives. And you can't do the best work of your life if you can't stand what you do, if you hate your work. And so I think a big part of the future work is like removing inefficiencies, right? It's removing inefficiencies while also showing your team you care. Like, when people ask, like, what makes a good culture, I don't think there's any right or wrong reason. Like, what's right for your organization, David, is probably a little bit kind of like what you talked about with genetics and eating, right? Probably like what you need to eat versus what I need to eat, and then what your culture needs, what our culture needs is a little bit different. But one thing that's uniform is care. Is like, you got to show your team you care, and you got to do what you can to remove the suck, the things that don't need to be in work, right? The peak time commutes, the belief that, how much time people spend at a desk equates to value. Asking them and saying, like, hey, what are the things that you believe are not significant in your work that you think if were removed, you could do a better job and you'd enjoy yourself more and have a higher quality of life, right? You started out with that higher quality of life. Well, I'm a huge believer that what you put in your body, right, what you eat and drink, combined with your work and then the quality of your relationships, Like those three things, I think, are more important than perhaps anything, right? And so we have a culture at Snack Nation where, again, we nourish and inspire people to do the best work of their lives. And there's a lot of different ways that we do that, but care is such a big part of it.
You know, it's interesting because the concept of, and I'm into, you know, subtle nuances of things, as you can tell. I'm a student of as much as I can, which means I pay attention to and I give intention to the coincidences of culture, of nutrition, whatever it may be. And I just really feel consistently that it expands or accelerates what I'm trying to create in my life, what people call luck or coincidence. I think some mathematical or technology. When you look at removing suck, right, which is a highly technical term that I use as well.
Yeah, I learned that in my studies at Columbia.
Yeah, I figured it was an Ivy League term as well that I picked up from my siblings. They rejected me, but now they let me talk there at least. But I know the right.
Hey, that by the way, that's way better. That's way better than the other way around. You didn't have to pay the tuition. It's way better.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. The suck, though, I think it's important for people to remove their own suck and realize we can't remove the suck from the other person. But what we can do is we can learn to love the suck in the other person. Like I really focus in my corporate culture of looking for the superpowers in everybody and trying to understand the suck of everybody and only worry about your own suck to remove that. But if we can't love everything, you know, I've been blessed because I've been around the greatest celebrities, athletes, entertainers. I've actually held some positions that, you know, kids still today would be like, oh my gosh, that's my dream job. I'd love to run Lee Steinberg or, you know, run a phone company or all the things I get to do. And I was like, you know, there's a lot of suck in running Lee Steinberg, right? There's a lot. And what I've always done, all the way to my wife literally still says, well, you've always loved what you do. I'm like, who would love selling legal research? Like in what world do you think people are lining up, in heaven? Oh, next life, I want to go sell legal research online. No, I learned, like, my biggest superpower is I find the light, the love, and the lessons and everything. How do you, though, communicate that? Because you get, I'll give you an example. I coach a kid. He has a whole bunch of franchises. My daughter's, he was blessed. He was gracious enough to give my, 18-year-old daughter a job there at the franchise. And it's a bunch of young kids. Well, she's coming home telling me, these are kids who are taking his money. He can't run a business. They're all not doing their job right. So basically what she's telling me is he's provided them an opportunity at $14 to $17 an hour. And my buddy is somehow the GOAT because he's not running the business correctly and they're not doing their job correctly and blaming him. I'm like this going, how do I create a culture that says, find the superpowers and make some corrections? What do you do to create that type of atmosphere?
Oh man, there's so much there, David, and I think you're
that's
so
my
right.
secret.
I mean,
ask a shitload of stuff and allow you just to pick one of them.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think first of all, I mean, you talk about change, right? We're in it's a pretty wild time right now with the with the social the wonderful social justice movement going on, and I think that what we need to recognize is that we can only change ourselves, right? Like you can inspire and then you can influence, but if you try to change somebody else, and especially if you do that through like anger or insult or trying to control someone, good luck, right? Like you can inspire somebody through love, you can inspire someone through your own actions, and that allows them to run and say, you know what, I want less suck in my own life. I do think though that there are certain things that we can do as employers to remove the suck from our employees. Like for instance, I mean, let's just say that a year or two down the road, going back to offices is okay, right? So whether there's a vaccine, but social distancing is no longer needed. Well, maybe you should rethink like hours. Like, do you really need your team to be at the office at 9 a.m.? Well, because if they came in at 11 a.m. versus 9 a.m., they might save an hour of their commute, right? It might be asking them like, hey, like, how do you prefer your schedule? And instead of asking people, hey, I really expect you, if you want to take care of yourself, we talk about health and wellness at the beginning. Instead of, working out at the beginning or the end of the day, maybe they want to work out in the middle of the day. Who cares, right? Like rather than like look at it and say, oh my gosh, I need you to be here and to do this for 8 hours a day. What if instead we say, no, this is what I expect you to accomplish this week, this month. However you want to accomplish that and whatever that is, go for it. And so those are the things when I think that as employers, we can do a lot to remove the suck, but you're completely correct that if you do not focus on removing the suck yourself, nobody can do anything for you. And I think such a big part for me, this is so important, is that without struggle, there's no progress. And so, David, one of the things that changed my life was recognizing that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I am literally on the exact path, and the struggles that are in front of me, the suck that's in front of me, not only is it within my power, but it's actually meant for me. And once I recognized that this struggle and the suck and everything else was literally my purpose, it allowed me not only to get past the suck, but also to recognize, oh, you know what? This suck kind of makes me feel like a badass. This suck, kind of like you said, David, makes me better, right? Instead of looking at these things as like, oh my gosh, woe is me, I'm a victim, looking at it as like, oh my gosh, here's another opportunity for me to kick ass. And so I think there's so much to unpack there, but that's kind of how we look at it at Snack Nation.
That's amazing, because I'm on the same frequency right now with pain being an indicator. Mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, financial pain is just an indicator to, like a blinker, right? Hey man, move in another direction, you're going to get better. So you get excited. The other thing that's really interesting in what you said to me that changed my perception is, I forget who told me, but someone's like, the first 10 minutes suck. Right? Like if you wake up, and I'm a super disciplined person, right? I wake up at 4, I got routine, adaptable routine. 4 a.m. Yeah.
That's early, man. You got me beat.
I love it. And I don't expect anyone else to live that way. But for me, the first, like, even some days people ask me, so what do you do? Because I meditate 20 minutes, which is all, there's no resistance to meditation. It's so amazing. But then I got to get ready for 10 minutes to go work out, and that 10 minutes sucks. And then the first 10 minutes of my exercise suck. And it's probably the worst time of my day. It just sucks. And some days I really don't want to do it. And in my mind, if I tell myself pain's an indicator that change is about to occur, and change for the better because of my mindset and my heart set is going to occur, then I say to myself, okay, give it 10 minutes and then decide. And always after that 10 minutes, you're like, yes. Right? And so I love that attitude that you have is, hey, let's accept and embrace. Because I think that's the key to life, is those people that can take and smile through struggle and really detach their emotions from the outcome and say to themselves, I'm where I'm supposed to be at the right way at the perfect time. And my only job is to accelerate and grow and have our eye on happiness, which is, my last question to you is, I changed my thermostat in business and life from money. And now money is just an ingredient of the mercury. It's one of the ingredients in the mercury. But my whole thermostat is, how do I feel? How happy am I? And then I make my adjustments from there, knowing that money's the pragmatic way. Where does happiness fall within the context of your corporate culture?
Yeah, so happiness, I think at times happiness is overrated, because sometimes people think of happiness and they think, first of all, I got to say, what you're talking about with pain, you just broke down in so many ways the small steps to greatness. Like that to me is like, whether it's jumping over a hurdle, but being attracted, right? Everything that you want in life is on the other side of pain and fear. And so what you said, I think, is just gold, David. Thank you for saying that. Happiness for us, I think happiness is really important. But when I think of happiness, I don't think so much as momentary and fleeting. Like, yes, I want momentary happiness through joy spreading at work. Through you, this conversation here is bringing me happiness. I show that you care for me. I show that you're curious. I love what you're saying. You're inspiring me. This is the momentary happiness that I like. But the happiness that we try to create at Snack Nation and at Awesome Office, our parent company, is more of the fulfillment. And to me, that's about meaning and purpose. It's about, how do we allow people to find their own meaning and purpose in the work? So at the end of the day, while they're going through something that's either super boring, let's be honest, David, some work is really boring, right? And some of it is painful. I mean, I'm putting together this new deck of our vision and company right now, and it is so hard. And I want to get up and leave. It's literally mentally painful. But when you allow people to recognize that there's meaning and purpose in their work, and you allow people to, again, do everything they can to remove the suck, or what I say is remove the insignificant things. Those insignificance, I think we all want significance. Insignificant things are the things that you sacrifice for that literally produce no value in the future. That sucks. So remove those things, help give people meaning and purpose. And then when they're going through that struggle, they're like, listen, I'm not happy right now. Like, this isn't momentary happiness like when I was talking to David, but the other side of it is this unbelievable joy because you feel this achievement. And to me, I don't think there's anything more important in life. Okay, we talked about food and drink as an important input, but it all comes down to doing meaningful and purposeful work, achieving work that makes you feel good about yourself. It's not for others. It makes you feel good about yourself. And then after you feel good about yourself, you're then able to be a wonderful person for your family and your friends and the people you love the most. I think without meaningful work, you can't show up as that person to your friends and family, and therefore you're not going to have real happiness. Because I believe that almost all real happiness either comes from, again, your own achievement, but most of it then comes from how you share it with others. And so that's how we look at happiness. I like, don't get me wrong, I love pina coladas and a good bottle of wine as much as everybody. That brings me happiness. But guess what, David? If I was sharing it with you over a meaningful conversation on life, that would make that bottle of wine a hell of a lot more happy, and I would describe that as joy.
That's a date, man. I'm all over joy and happiness. I appreciate you, Sean. Check out Snack Nation if you haven't. We want the right inputs, the mind, body, and soul inputs that we need. And most important, I think, to summarize, I think both of us, we give meaning to everything we see, which is a great lesson as well. Thank you for allowing us to see the meaning that you've given your company and your life. I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, thank you. Sorry for the reception, but hopefully you like the backyard.
I love it, man. No problem. I got all of it. We got a tape. Thank you.
Take care. See you guys.
John Kelly,
Appreciate
CEO of Snack Nation. Check it out. There's a lot more behind great companies than just the product, services, and solutions that they have, right? The leadership and culture is the main source, because you can always change what you sell, but you can't change that culture overnight. And Sean was amazing, as you could tell, and just having so much good input. Remember, you give meaning to everything you see. There's the distinction between joy and happiness. And talk about people, it's not what you say, it's what they hear. I love that distinction between joy and happiness. Obviously, I'm trying on a mission to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. That's because a lot of people don't understand that distinction. So if I said I'm trying to empower joy, it wouldn't have the same clarity to as many people. But I agree 100% with Sean. I am trying to empower over 1 billion people to be joyous and happy. And there is a distinction, just like motivation versus inspiration. We are going to talk about reinventing, reengineering, and repurposing ourselves this Friday at 11 a.m., 2 p.m. Pacific at free training, free training. Got to reiterate, people keep asking me, how much is it? It's free. I promise you, we're not selling you anything. Please join me. I would love to have you there. How do you get over a plateau in your career? Get better at it. If you have to use time, money, certain objectives, get better at what you do. The legs feel the lion. And so we'll go ahead. Let's take a few more questions here. I think Theodis Beasley may not make it. He wanted to come on, but we've had plenty of great interns. What should you look for in a mentor? Great question. You should look for a mentor that sits in the situation that you want to be in according to one of your objectives. So whether it's, sit-ups and you find the expert in sit-ups, whether it's commercial real estate or multi-unit properties, or whether it's your relationship with money, or whether it's entrepreneurship and startup, whether it's getting funding, how to pitch. Find as specific of a mentor that you can, someone that's already paid the dummy tax, someone that has not only the situational knowledge for you so you can expedite and accelerate what you're trying to get to, but has paid that dummy tax and has the relationships in order to make that investment in you with the most valuable thing they have, their skills, their knowledge, and hopefully accelerating your desire to be what you must be by making things easier and expanding your ideas, giving new meaning to what you see. So looking great there. Let's jump to the next question here. I basically live at home, dependent on parents, no job. Is this the best opportunity just to build content? Look, building content is capturing what you do, modifying it to the different platforms so that it's digested easier in a more applicable way, amplifying it into those streams, and then perpetuating it. Meaning that people binge watch you, they binge watch your solution, your service, your content. And so you want to make sure that you're utilizing the capture, modify, amplify, and perpetuate strategy in order to effectuate what you do. Personally, I maximize the activity I get paid for and capture that, modify that, amplify that, and perpetuate that. I don't work, right? Work is a resistant, overused term that creates void, shortages, and obstacles. I just have activities, I'm a very active person. I'm not busy. Busy means I'm not accessible. I am accessible, productive, and gracious of everything that I do. That's the Meltzer kaleidoscope, the three lenses in which I look through. So I utilize that activity, as we talked to Liam before, right? That activity, trying to maximize activity I get paid for, capturing, amplifying, and perpetuating is the best way to do that. And I, would suggest that maybe you look into it if you're living at home, to being of service to your parents, asking them, hey, how can I be of service? And what can I do to help? And taking a job to learn a skill that is aligned with your values that you're taking inventory every day of. So look at it and say, hey, you know what? My kids work 2 jobs, and it's not about me. It's about them learning and having activity that they get paid for. I want them to learn that it's better to be active than to sit around. And 2, if they're going to be active, let's use the currency of this vibration as a reward. An object of energy we put into the flow to get stuff that we want. Money, right? Activity we get paid for. So I'm teaching my kids, all of them, including my 10-year-old, right? We go surfing out there on the internet to find stuff that we can buy and have it pre-sold, and we make margins. I got a 10-year-old that probably makes more than most 40-year-olds because he understands buying things that are oversold, pre-selling them, and making a margin. He's found his own backer, someone that believes into his buying and selling skills, and him and his dad have a great time doing it and learning together as well. So very good. Let's take one more question. And looking in here, sorry, I hit so many people. Sean, is that you, my barbecue media hospitality man? When did you go through your re-engineering? Every day. So every day I am taking inventory of my values, and I'm a hypocrite. What does that mean? I'm accelerating, growing, and I'm re-engineering who I am in order to effectuate what I want. Because if I get what I want, I'm happy. And if I want the right things that aren't ego-based, meaning I'm not buying things that I don't need. I'm not buying things that aren't aligned with my values. I'm not buying things to impress people, let alone people I don't like, which was a miserable part of my life. And I only know that out of retrospect. I didn't know it while I was in it. When I say miserable, it wasn't as good as it is today, right? It wasn't miserable at the time because I got the happiness gene and the bright perspective. My whole life I've enjoyed some of it too much. All right, one more question, and then we are going to jump. Friday's training is about re-engineering, reinventing, repurposing, giving meaning to everything that you see. I'm going to create activity you get paid for, as well as increase your faith, give you black card faith and black card credit, so you not only can buy whatever you want, but you can attract whatever you want or allow whatever you want in a global, international, and universal sense. How do you like that? That's a powerful training, and it's free, free, free. I love it. Dylan, welcome, by the way. We're going to take one more question. That's at, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Text me, anyone, if you need help, mentorship, training, whatever. Text me, 949-298-2905. Mike Diamond, you are the man. I'm going to read your book. Mike got a new book coming out. It's going to be incredible. He's my partner on the Diamond and Dave show. David and Diamond, the dose, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Those are the 4 things that Mikey and I work on together. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Learn about all this stuff. How do you learn about money? I'm still learning about money. But I took a money workshop. I have a mentor with money, as high as even Steve Wynn asks questions about my relationship with money. Money is an energy, right? It's a currency. It's an object of energy you put into the flow to get what you want. And when we create a relation with less resistance to something energetic, it comes to us. We allow it to happen. There's a reason we call and give kids allowance, right? We don't pay them. We give them allowance, right? Because we want to create a flow between those that are most intimately related to us and others, and to what they want in their lives. So thank you. Toby Dylan sent me a message. Got that. Good question here. What is something you've learned recently? I'm going to repeat this because I learned this recently and I really like it. First 10 minutes are the hardest. I just haven't been able to articulate that as clearly as what it says, but anytime that I feel pain, which was not a lesson I recently learned, pain being the indicator, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial pain being an indicator that you have something to learn. Life is about lessons. Lessons will keep on coming to you. Learn them. You're going to forget every lesson you've ever learned, but you have the power to access it. Through that whole process, the one missing component that I learned is the first 10 minutes suck. And so if you just remind yourself, right, it's like the 25 no's. If you can convince yourself you're only 25 no's from getting what you want, every time you get a no, you're happier and happier. Well, if you know the first 10 minutes suck and you just got to get through the first 10 minutes, after 1 minute, you're relieved. After 9 minutes, you're super relieved. You're not suffering, right? You're not about to quit. It relieves the worst fear of everybody and the worst activity of everybody, which is quitting. 99% of the people quit 25% of the way. Another 99% of the 1% quit when they're 50% of the way there. There's the problem with all issues that we have: economic, social, spiritual, mental, emotional, political, all these different things that we're facing. The biggest problem when you talk about systematic change is people quit. Don't quit. Be stuck, right? If you're stuck in a pair of pants, that's because you've grown. That's a good thing. Not for your pants, but it's a good thing in life when you feel stuck. That means you're growing, you're accelerating. That means don't quit. That means don't quit if you feel stuck. If you don't feel stuck, you ain't doing it. You ain't doing it. You're not getting the skills. You're not developing the knowledge and skills, or you're not in the right state of mind, desire. You don't have the mindset, the heart set in order to effectuate acceleration and growth. You are not where you want to be at the perfect place at the perfect time, as Sean suggested. All right, everyone. I will see you Friday. I do this every day at 8 a.m., but Fridays, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Come register, david@dmeltzer.com. Text me at 949-298-2905. It's free. Please join me. Love it. I appreciate all of you. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Have a great day.